Now, August 10th, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found in his cell unresponsible, and the cause of the unaliving was ruled suicide by hanging, right? That's what they allegedly said. Now, there's a lot of speculation going around that he's not unalive. He's somewhere living on an island. That was a fake body. There's a lot of things being said, right? We know that in these Epstein files, there's a lot of things that's being said. Now, a lot of things that people, when they was blowing the whistle on Hollywood, a lot of these powerful, rich executives, a lot of these people that's running these countries, they're doing a lot of real wild, crazy things around the world, right? And in these Epstein files, it's a legend that Epstein had secrets on a whole lot of people. And if these secrets come out, a whole lot of people would get in trouble. So Epstein had a whole lot of enemies prior to his so-called death, right? He had a whole lot of enemies. Now, Tucker Carlson, he talked about this on his show where he said that Epstein's brother gave him a call and he gave him the skinny on what actually happened.
Epstein was murdered in prison, okay? I know a lot about it. I'm not just throwing that out there. In prison.
Well, they put him with a cellmate that was kind of a crazy, like, former police officer, right?
Yeah, a former police officer killed a number of drug dealers. I'm not saying that guy did it, but I'm saying, well, I asked Bureau of Prisons because I learned all this stuff about it because I know Epstein's brother, Mark, well. And I never expected to go down this rabbit hole at all. The guy called me like a week after his brother was killed.
Mark did?
Yeah. And so, yeah, I was literally sitting in my backyard in Maine, and he called me, and I don't know how he got my cell. And it ended up this years-long thing. It's not interesting, and I won't bore you with it, but the bottom line is Jeff Epstein was murdered in federal lockup in Manhattan in the secure unit. I think there were only 16 men on the unit, and I think only 14 there that night. I may have that slightly wrong, but it's very small, and it's the most secure federal lockup in the United States, and he got murdered in it. So that raises all kinds of obvious questions, like who has the power to do that? So that's a big deal. And then the attorney general at the time helped cover it up. And I know him. And Bill Barr. So I say that, and he's like, oh, I'm going to sue you. And I said, go ahead and sue me. I hope you will. And what's the answer? Like, why don't you answer? He never will. Well, it turns out, and this does make you crazy, that his father, Donald Barr, is the guy who started Epstein's career, who both gave him his first job, for which he was not qualified, and then got him his second job at Bear Stearns, for which he was definitely unqualified. What is that? Former CIA guy, OSS guy. But anyway, the point is that question of how an American citizen, kid toucher or not, could get murdered in federal lockup in our biggest city, like, holy, scare everybody. And then the Attorney General of the United States is covering it up. He admitted, this is the Attorney General, when Epstein said, I told everyone around me, we need to make sure the country believes this was a suicide. It's like, you haven't even done a freaking investigation. You're the chief law enforcement officer, and you're telling me the outcome before you even look into it?
How do you know that?
Because he admitted it in his autobiography. And so I'm not guessing at any of this stuff, okay? So I call Bureau of Prisons, and I'm like, I want the names of the inmates who are serving on this block, because clearly nobody got in or out of the block. It's
right. Well, it also was a question to our prison system. It's like, how would you not know? Like, obviously, this is the guy you have to protect.
They did it on purpose, and he was murdered clearly by another inmate. And there is so much. I mean, I did like an hour on this. Anyone interested can look it up, but I'm not a conspiracy nut at all. I've been a journalist my whole life. I've often been wrong, but I've always been attentive to what I believe the facts to be. I think it really matters whether you're accurate, and I've tried to be. So it was not a perfect storm of screw-ups. They never did the investigation into how this guy died. They redressed him in clothes that he wasn't wearing when he died for pictures in the hospital infirmary. All the records of what happened to his body are gone. And critically, we cannot get, and I tried directly by calling the Attorney General's office, I want a list of the names of the inmates. It's publicly available. They're convicted felons, dude. Yeah. This is not secret information. It's not national security information. Why can't you tell me that? They allowed him to be murdered in federal lockup. So leave all the pedo island stuff out of it. And just ask yourself, how can we continue to live in a country where a high-profile inmate can be in our prison system by who's powerful enough to do that?
Right.
And so these are not only legitimate questions, they're essential questions. And like, we're mad at the people asking them.
That's the, yeah.
So, you have to study your open enemies, man, because they always tell the truth. I mean, I remember back in the day, Grandma used to say the devil is a lie, but the devil don't lie. The devil tell the truth all the time. You just have to decipher what he's saying, right? They talking riddle. They talking cold. You got to know what they're talking about and what they're saying. And he's talking about Jeffrey Epstein and how the attorney general at the time really didn't prosecute or really didn't investigate this. Then he's saying that his father was former OSS and was the one who put Epstein on. These are things that they're alleging. These are things that they're saying. And he's saying that this man was unalive in the most secure federal prison in the United States of America. Now, I told you guys that he made a lot of enemies because he had a lot of secrets. So Tucker Carlson is blowing the whistle on this situation. And I don't know, Tucker Carlson is pissed off at somebody. I told you guys, over there on the radical right, the ship is leaking oil. And there's a lot of things that's coming out, a lot of things that's being exposed, right? But there was two names that was mentioned in this that got the black community eyebrows raising, right? And that's Jay-Z and Pusha T. And I always said, once Jay-Z, they said he hit that $1 billion mark, right? He hit that Billy. I said, yeah, you know what? He just signed a contract over there with them people, man. He over there with them people. So there's a lot of questions that's being asked, and this is what they're reporting.
Justice Department released more than 3 million documents, including photos and videos from the Epstein files. Some of these new documents are emails between convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and New York Giants chairman and co-owner Steve Tisch. They reportedly show that Epstein recruited women for him. In a statement, Tisch expressed regret about his association with Epstein and said the women he discussed with Epstein were adults. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe has more.
The files reveal hundreds of references to President Trump, who's never been charged with any wrongdoing. Some describe allegations referencing underage women. Others detail parties allegedly held at the president's Mar-a-Lago estate. A 2012 email details the possibility of Epstein going to Mar-a-Lago after Christmas. That's several years after Trump claims he and Epstein ended their friendship.
I haven't spoken to him in probably 15 years or more.
In a 2016 deposition, Epstein is asked several questions about former President Bill Clinton flying on his jet and whether he was accompanied by 2 young women. Epstein answered fifth to each question. Clinton has denied any wrongdoing. In another email exchange, Epstein writes to Microsoft founder Bill Gates about helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls. Gates' ex-wife told CBS News her then-husband's relationship with Epstein played a role in their divorce. Epstein, in an exchange with Elon Musk, discusses sending his helicopter to take him to his island. Musk asking what day, night, will be the wildest party.
So this is where it gets crazy because 50 Cent, he starts to mock Jay-Z. He says, damn, they got your man Jay in the Epstein's files. I gotta do it. I gotta do a doc on this, right? He started his trolling. You know how he get down. Now he feel like a lot of those guys wrote him out. They wrote, they was messing with his career. They was coming after him. The Browning girl said, here's what's most important to note about Jay-Z and Pusha T Epstein reporting. They are buried in most coverage, but should be headlines. The mention of Jay-Z and Pusha T did not come from Epstein's personal records at all. Didn't even come from anything that was corroborated or verified by law enforcement. Jay-Z and Pusha T were named in a tip via a hotline to the FBI that this uncorroborated claim could come from anyone at any time via the hotline. These claims were never investigated by authorities, right? A lot of these claims was never investigated by authority. And then 50 Cent said again, I know I'm late on this, but this is kind of crazy. He always trolling. He said, "This what do you do to get thrown? What do you do to get thrown in the mix, right?" So he's gonna troll with every aspect that he can because he doesn't like Jay-Z at all, right? But they're saying that this stuff was uncorroborated, right? But there was a hotline, and there was a lot of things that wasn't investigated. But this woman, she came, and they have this report, right? That was on 7/10/2019, right? Let's get off into this report because this is important, right? Let's get off into this report. Right. So this is a report from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's crisis intake, right? On 7/10/2019 at approximately at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, blank blank called the FBI National Threat Organization's Operations Center, NTOC, to identify herself as a victim of X abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. Provided the following information: in approximately 1994, a past victim of X abuse by Epstein described the abuse occurred during parties. Further identified as a friend of blank. In approximately 1996, resided with blank, and unknown man abducted blank from her home, whence she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z. While Weinstein had inserted his fingers into blank, blank believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Blank estimated she was abducted on several occasions, awakened each time in an opulent outdoor setting. Suffered from X abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein's participated. Blank recalled Leon Black and William Barr, current United States Attorney General, being present during some of those occasions of abuse. In approximately 2006, Blank was recalled being abused by Epstein. So like a lot of this stuff is coming out, man. This thing is real crazy, man. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out, right? Each occasion, Blank believed she was drugged, clouding her memory. Blank attributed the drugging to as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers, whom she described as persons who established friendships with the victims. Among the handlers, Blank identified the artist Pusha T. Man, I don't know if I believe this crazy stuff, man. In approximately 2007, Blank attended a party. Blank following investigation from an unknown man who approached her as she walked down the streets. Weinstein and Pusha T also attended the party and drugged her before engaging in sexual abuse. Blank claimed to have additional information of other persons involved in the enterprise and information related to racketeering conducted in support of the trafficking. Blank further believed she was under surveillance and stalked at the direction of the people involved in the X abuse. Blank confirmed she was not diagnosed with any mental illness. Blank refused to provide her physical address, advising that she maintained no permanent address. Rather, she moved between staying at different hotels, right? So, like I said, this thing gets real goofy and crazy. I don't know if I fully believe this, but there's a lot of stuff coming out in the Epstein files. Like I said, this can't be substantiated because this was from the calling number after he was unalive, right? August 10th, 2019. So you had a whole bunch of people calling in and putting in accusations. The one thing I don't like is they can put some accusations in and say it was a woman, but then hide her identity. So, and then from there, they can create a whole narrative to destroy your credibility and ruin your reputation. I think that should be illegal because there's no way you can fight it. There's no way you can come out from under it because they'll just say a Jane Doe or this, right? So this is the smoking gun that they can use to just bring you down. And there's nothing you can really do about it, right? But we know that the smoke screen to me is Jay-Z and Pusha T. There's a lot of powerful people. And another thing, it took them forever to bring these Epstein's files out. So don't think for a second that they didn't doctor these files. They didn't put some white out and ball up some paper and shred some of the files. You ain't getting the full authentic files, man. You ain't getting what you're supposed to get. But they got Jay-Z, and Jay-Z is not named in it. Somebody called up and said that he was. And these are all alleged, right? These are all alleged. Now, there were some things that Jaguar Wright said about him and Beyonce, and I'm not going to play that because, like I said, I'm just not going to play it. I was, but I changed my mind, right? Because his name is not in the actual file. First of all, he ain't got enough money to be in that file. He's not on that. He's not on that level. And then you're not a part of those people. You're not invited to that party, right? So what I'm saying is, it's coming out that it's alleged that somebody a person called up and put this report in on on Jay-Z, Weinstein, and Pusha T. It's not in the actual documents. But as more of this come out, I'll report more of this. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.